A lot depends on mental toughness, because at the end of the day, it's a pressure game. Don't be afraid of failing. Even
You talk about you're keeping all those noises down. Now you have the ball in your hand. You're playing a global T20 game. You've got Yuvraj Singh facing you,
yeah.
right? How do you then not bring those noises back? What goes through your head when you're bowling to a name like that? Who can? Welcome to a very special episode of BaatShaat. Joining me today is none other than Saad Bin Zafar, the Canadian superstar all-rounder who's played T20 cricket across the world and represented Canada very proudly and has just recently returned from CPL. He's stint at the CPL. We're going to get him live fairly shortly and ask him a few questions about his journey for this show. And make sure you like and subscribe while I go back and bring Saad on. Stay with us. Hello, Saad. Welcome to BaatShaat. How are you doing?
I'm good, Salman bhai. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's such a wonderful pleasure to have you today. And, just following you for the last many, many years, I see your name popping up pretty much everywhere. But I always wanted to sit down with you and understand your history, like how the passion about cricket, how it all started. I know, when I go back and do some research, I know you were born in Pakistan.
Yep.
So, I want to take viewers right into your life, and let's talk about, you were born in Pakistan. When did you move to Canada? How did you get into cricket? Why cricket? Let's start with that.
So I moved to Canada when I was 17 years old. Before that, I played. I picked up the passion in Pakistan. When you grow up in Pakistan, you see everybody playing cricket around you, so you wanna play cricket as well. So that's where I started. I started playing tape ball cricket with friends on the street at an early age. That's where I picked up the sport and picked up the passion. But I never played club cricket in Pakistan. My dad was, just like every other brown parent, he was very keen on me focusing on studies and stay away from cricket and other activities. But it was just a passion. So I just played tape ball cricket. And then I think I was around 14 years old when I was playing tape ball cricket in school, where our school sports teacher, he just saw me playing cricket and he just invited me to come and play for the junior hardball cricket team. So I said, okay, I'll come and join and see how leather ball cricket and hardball cricket is all about. So
you had never played hardball cricket before that?
I never played cricket before. I was just playing tape ball cricket. And then I joined the school junior team and started playing hardball cricket. And then from there, I transitioned into the senior team later on after a year or two. And so I was doing O levels and I was playing school cricket. I was representing my school senior team. And so I played for that. And then when I was 17, I moved to Canada. So didn't play any club cricket back then. I remember it was 2004 when I moved to Canada, and Canada participated in 2003's World Cup. During that time in 2003, I kind of knew that I'm moving to Canada next year. So when I saw the Canadian team playing in the World Cup, I got very excited. And, that's when I found out that, Canada has cricket. Before that, that was one of my concerns that, maybe I would have to give away my passion of playing cricket, because I did not know that Canada, they play cricket in Canada. So then when I moved here, I started playing again tape ball cricket. I found people in my area who were playing tape ball cricket, and I started tape ball cricket. Even at that time, I did not know if I could pursue playing hardball cricket and how to join a club, or I wasn't aware of those things of how to join. And luckily one day I was doing a summer job, and I was sitting, I was doing telemarketing for one company as being a student and just having a summer job. And then I just overheard two guys talking about, going for cricket practice after work. So I just walked up to them and I was like, you guys are going for a cricket practice? They said yes. And I was like, can I join you guys? They said, yeah, sure, join us, So I just went with them, and they used to play for a club. And so I practiced with them. They saw me, they got impressed. They're like, you know what, we have under 19 team, we play for a club, and we're just registering you and just start playing on this coming weekend for us.
So that was in Toronto.
That was in Toronto, yes.
Which
That
club was
was
that, if you don't mind me
that
asking?
was Overseas Cricket Club. That was my
Oh, overseas. Okay. Yeah.
first club, and
Pakistan. You talked about playing school cricket. Which school did you go to in Pakistan?
so I went to Defense Public School
Okay.
in Lahore. I was brought up in Lahore, and that's where
Yeah.
like I did my schooling from. So I
So how was the
represented.
schooling system in Pakistan for cricket? How was cricket system in Pakistan when you played?
It's very competitive. It was very competitive back then. I don't know about now, but it
Yeah.
must be very competitive now as well. But it's not easy to even get into a school team. It's very
Wow.
tough, especially the senior team.
Okay.
Because like in my school, there's like uh, guys from grade 9, grade 10, and then there's a O level section as well, where there's
Yeah.
guys in pre-Cambridge, Cambridge 1, Cambridge 2, those classes. So there's like a lot of classes where like and every other guy, he plays cricket, right? So
Everywhere there's a team for every class, every grade.
so
Yeah.
even to make it to a school level, it was a great achievement back then. But
Exactly.
then I never thought of like at that time, like cricket was like a passion, but I never thought like I would go to a point where I'd be representing a country, or that time, like that wasn't a goal back then. I just wanted to play cricket, and I just wanted to play because like I enjoyed the sport back in the
Absolutely. Yeah, the reason, Saad, I asked you the question. I grew up. I did my A level, O level in Pakistan as well. I grew up in the Beacon House school system, and
Mhm.
cricket was extremely tough.
Yeah,
Like it was a very competitive sport. We had tournaments across the board, and I mean, if you look at our counterparts in India,
yeah,
most of the top players have come from school cricket,
yeah.
and I think in Pakistan as well is the case. Most of the top cricketers have come. So it wasn't just school cricket; it was a very competitive cricket, right?
Yes, it was. And yeah, so I mean, like a lot of my friends, they even used to play for like different clubs. So they would
Yeah,
even practice outside, like our regular school cricket practice. So they were like really, really good. So the competition was quite tough, and we used to play, participate in tournaments where we would go and play against Beacon House and
yeah,
other
yeah,
schools.
makes sense.
So it
Yeah,
was it was quite competitive. It wasn't just like we were playing amongst our school or like inter-house, or like
yeah.
those kind of competitions. We would also go and compete in other tournaments. So it was quite competitive and quite tough back then.
So let's roll the years forward. You were talking about starting your season for Overseas Cricket Club, you know, becoming very lucky to run into cricket in some ways. And those guys are still there. They're very supportive. I can see that. But how did you find club cricket, settling into club cricket in Canada? What changes did you have to make, especially with a very short season? Did you have to make much changes?
Yes, so again, like I was kind of used to it, because even in like I didn't come through like a club system in Pakistan where like you're playing cricket every day and those kind of things. Like my cricket was very limited to school cricket, and as I told you, like I wasn't like my parents at that time were not that supportive of me playing cricket. So it was
Yeah,
only like I had to make sure that I'm doing well in studies, and that only then I would get a little time off to play school cricket, and any match that I would get, so it wasn't like I was playing a lot of cricket and on a regular basis in Pakistan. um, Club cricket was, so basically I kind of like started my cricket in Canada, basically, like just getting playing club level cricket. And because even when I joined, I was 17 and I was playing for under 19. Then they saw me even on the first weekend. When they saw me, they said, okay, we have other senior teams. We had Premier Division, we had First Division. So I remember I played a game on Saturday for under 19. Sunday I played a First Division game. They put me directly into the First Division. I picked up 5 wickets in the First Division game, and then the next weekend they put me in this Premier team, which was
wow,
like the highest level of
highest,
league that was
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that time
There
in
were quite
Canada.
a few teams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so at the age of 17, I was put in, because and then Premier Division was not easy. It was very tough, because all those national players back in the days who used to represent, they were playing that Premier team. So I was like just thrown into this competitive cricket straight away, coming at a very early age, where I was only 17, and I wasn't like playing with all these big guys, like coming from Pakistan, but I was just competitive because I was playing good cricket in Pakistan. So like I adjusted in the system, like quite easily, played the actual game that I played and learned, I learned in the Canadian system.
Which is incredible to hear, right? And I think Canadian system was at its peak back then, because
Yeah.
I think after many years, Canadian team had qualified, and they actually won their first game in the World Cup on the return. They beat Bangladesh, so I think the confidence was high. So Saad, like coming in from Pakistan, then walking into Canada, Canadian system, uh, getting recognized at a very early stage that you had the talent. Were you always considering yourself a bowler or a batsman, all rounder? What did you really start off as?
So I started off as a fast bowler. I used to bowl fast back in the days, and I was just a
Yeah.
bowler, and that's how I started my career. I was quite quick back in the days, but then like I played a few years for overseas cricket club. Then after that, I moved to Porpoise Cricket Club. Then I played a few years there, but then I got a back injury, um, and then I and like the season is just 3 months, right? And if
3
you have
months,
like an
exactly.
injury where like you need at least 1 or 2 months to recover, then the season is pretty much gone. So you just have to like again go back to winter time indoor practices and come back again next year. So it happened to me once, and again the second year I started it, again it had back injury, the second time in a row, and sort of a blessing in disguise. And I was like, I don't want to miss the season this time. I have an injury, I'm not fully recovered, but I cannot bowl fast, so let me try bowling spin, like just
Oh,
to, uh,
wow.
just to play the season, at least to play the season
So it
out.
wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't that you planned to bowl spin. It was by design.
No,
Just
actually,
situation.
few of the guys suggested me bowling spin early on, and I was like, no, like why would? Because when you're bowling fast,
Yeah,
you have the
your
mentality.
passion is far. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then I never gave it a serious thought, because a lot of the guys, they said that like left arm spinner, like it's in demand, like they do really well. So why don't you? Because I didn't have a good height and a build of like a fast bowler that requires
Yeah,
for a fast bowler. So
yeah.
people used to give me all those suggestions, but back in the days, like I never paid that much attention to it. But then again, as I said, like I had injuries, and then I picked it up, and I was like, it's not actually bad. And I think after almost 1.5 years, like 2 seasons, next thing I was in the Canadian squad bowling as a left arm spinner.
So it's a very big transition, Saad. A player has to go through all your life. You bowl fast. Now
Yeah.
you have to become a spinner. So what really gave you the confidence? Was it your batting that led your confidence to be where it was? Was it your bowling that brought the confidence in you that I could go further? Like what was it that triggered for you?
So Salman bhai, everything I now when I look back, everything at that time when when you're going through injuries and those kind of
Yeah.
things. But now when I look back, like everything worked in my favor. Like all those down times that I had, I never used to pay too much attention to batting back in the days. Um, but then when I had that injury, I still wanted to play cricket. So I was like, okay, now I cannot bowl fast. I have like lower back pain now, which I'm recovering from. Let me spend some extra time batting, in the nets, or or let me play a lower division game as a batsman, because at a higher division in the Premier, I cannot play as a batsman. So let me go down to second division, maybe third division, and play as a batsman. So then I started doing that, like, and then next thing I'm working on my batting, and I'm becoming a better batsman now as well, along with the with a spin bowler, so everything, I think all those down times, they were sort of a blessing in disguise, where like I was working on other things which were making me better as an all-round cricketer, rather than just like as a bowler. So
Wow.
I spent more time like working on my batting, and I improved my batting doing that.
Well, I think it's great to hear because Saad, I think you see the best in everything. It seems because all those were pretty tough injuries
Yes.
to come back from, and you're
Yeah.
saying every injury gave me an opportunity to come back better. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take you just slightly away from this topic and ask you, as a top flight cricketer, as someone who's represented Canada at the highest level, as someone who's played in these franchise leagues, how tough a person has to be mentally to survive out there.
I think a lot depends on mental toughness, because at the end of the day, it's a pressure game. Whenever you play at a higher level, it's all about maintaining, like managing pressure, and executing the right, like game plans that you have given and that you have worked in the nets. If you cannot deliver those game plans that you've practiced and discussed in the pressure game, then you're good for nothing, right? So it's about understanding how you can manage pressure, because everybody managing pressure, like, it depends what might work for you, might not work for me. So I have to expose myself to those pressure situations enough times to understand like how my body reacts during those pressure times, and how can I take that pressure and still stay relaxed and calm and can focus on the task on hand. So basically I try to, like, whatever negative thoughts that come into
Yeah.
my mind during that pressure time, that what if this goes wrong, what if that happens, oh, people are watching, that people will talk trash about you if you don't perform well. So you just have to manage and find a way of uh, keeping all these things out of your mind, and keep your mind with positive thoughts, and keep focusing on the task on hand. And the task on hand is one ball at a time. So you just focus on one ball, the next ball that you're about to deliver. Just focus on that one, not the previous ball that you bowled, not the next over that you're going to bowl. You just focus on that particular ball, and that's what you have to do. And it will come with experience. It doesn't come like, even if you know, if you do not go through all these pressure times, you will not learn. So it's talking about it, knowing about it is one thing, and then just exposing yourself to pressure situations day in and day out is another thing.
So that's a very valid point. I'm going to ask you $1 million question. You talk about you're keeping all those noises down. Now you have the ball in your hand. You're playing a global T20 game. You've got Yuvraj Singh facing you.
Yeah.
Right? How do you then not bring those noises back? What goes through your head when you're bowling to a name like that, who can smack you anywhere?
Yeah. Yes. So Salman bhai, the thing is, it's how do you give yourself the best chance? You give yourself the best chance by staying relaxed, and just focusing on the task on hand. If you put extra pressure on yourself, all these noises become louder and louder. If they start becoming, then you're not doing yourself a favor. Then it's more likely then you will fail, rather than you giving yourself a chance to succeed. So if you know that, and then you just, like, even if you just talk to yourself in your mind that, you know what, okay, I have to give myself the best chance to succeed, and the best chance I would give is by just staying calm and just focusing. And another thing is, don't be afraid of failing. Even if it doesn't go well, it's okay. You'll always have another opportunity. So just having to, like, we take failure as something that, oh, like, what if I fail? It's, so what if you fail? Like, it's not the end of the day. Like,
Exactly.
your life doesn't end there. So it's just overcoming the fear. It's okay to fail. It's just a part of journey. You just have to enjoy the journey. You will succeed, but it's not, failure is not opposite of success. It's a part of success. You fail until you succeed. So you just have to enjoy the journey, and you just have to give yourself a best chance to succeed. And you give yourself the best chance if you can manage the pressure well. And another thing is that as humans, we all feel pressure. Even Yuvraj Singh feels pressure. It's just that he's managing it well. He knows how to manage it well. So we have to. So you just have to understand that you're not the only person out there who's feeling the pressure. Everybody else, because we're not robots. Everybody. Every day is uncertain day, right? So there's uncertainty whether you're going to perform, you're not going to perform. So you just do the basics right, and leave the rest to God. Like, and if you have worked hard enough, you just back your skills and just see how things go on a particular day.
Saad, I'm sitting with you and I'm learning so many life lessons, which is so incredible. It's, I think, such a beautiful statement. I think, talked about you'll fail many times, but when you succeed, it all becomes a reality. Like, I started recalling Thomas Edison, who actually invented bulb, failed 1,000 times, and 1,001st time he created a bulb. So I think at some point you have to keep believing in yourself, right? So how do you keep that belief alive, Saad, when it's a 3-month long season? And 8 months you're going to be stuck indoors. You don't get that maximum practice. Like, what do you do as a top flight cricketer to stay fit and stay match fit? Because staying fit is one thing, staying match fit is another thing. How do you do that?
So Salman bhai, you just have to make the best of the situation. So like even this is a prime example. We are in a middle of a pandemic. Gyms are closed, everywhere is closed. So it could be like, if I'm like a negative kind of a person who, like, I can just make an excuse saying that, oh, I cannot go to a gym. Um, so but if I am a positive person, I'll see, okay, what can I do to get the best out of the situation. So like, okay, I can do certain exercises at home. Like, I have a mat, I have few bands. I actually I found some bricks laying outside my house, and I just brought it in my room, and I'm using them as weights to do certain exercises. So like, you just find the best of the situation, and then uh, so I have a indoor facility close to my house, and the owner is very kind. He let me practice at night after when everybody leaves. He has given me the bus code, so I just go there, and I just practice by my own, just spending time practicing by my own.
So knocking around the ball and all
Yeah,
that stuff is what
yeah,
you're right
yeah.
on your own. So it leads me to my next question, Saad. You've talked about, you try to stay match fit and everything. You try to stay fit when the season is not going on. You played some really good cricket for Canada, right? You've represented Canada extremely well. Some match-winning performances. But I think the performance that really defines you was the one in Global T20. If you recall, back in
Yeah.
2018,
Yeah.
that really put you on the map for a
Yeah.
lot of leagues out there. So walk me through that. What happened in the game, what kind of pressure you were facing. It was a final. You pretty much won it for Vancouver Knights. Gale called it one of the best performances by a Canadian player. Walk me through it.
So Salman bhai, even during the tournament, my main role was as a bowler. I never like batted. I only batted once or twice in one of those pool matches. And so in the finals, I was just focusing on bowling because that was my role. I never thought like I would be like, the situation will come where like Gail will tell me to go number three and just stay there for a bit. But it just happened, and like, I've spent time practicing on my batting as well, on my batting skills as well, because I come as a bowling all-rounder, but so not just a bowler, as a bowling all-rounder for Canada. So I've so it just created an opportunity, and it was just a day where like like you feel really good, and everything you're trying to execute, it happens on a day. But I would just tell you that I think it's just the hard work that you have done over the past few years that pays off sometimes like this. So had I not done the hard work in the past, I don't think I would have gotten that lucky. They say the more you work hard, the luckier you get. So these situations are created and are presented to you when you put in the hard work. And for us, as humans, we want instant gratification. We have done hard work yesterday, and we want the results tomorrow. Life doesn't happen that way. There's a lot of the times where back in like rolling back few years, I worked hard and I wouldn't get enough opportunity, or like like I wouldn't get like the performances I wanted out of me, and I would question like I would question myself, why am I not getting like opportunities, or why am I not delivering? I'm also putting in the hard work, but all these hard works that they don't go waste. So it will pay off eventually once you put in, and then once you see the results, and in hindsight, then you realize like all these times, like it will pay off eventually once you receive success. So I believe like it was just like God blessed me with that on that particular day, because of all the hard work I put in, not just before the start of the tournament, but from the past few years that I've been working on my game, me having preparing myself to play for Canada and all that.
That playing in front of the crowd, you're not used to it. How did you adjust when you're actually not playing in front of the crowds in Canadian leagues, and all of a sudden you go? I think even Canadian international games, there's not enough crowd there. All of a sudden, you go to these T20 franchise cricket, global T20, CPL. All of a sudden, there's crowd. How do you adjust? How do you keep those
So,
voices down?
yes. So Salmanvi, again, it comes down to mental toughness. And initially, when you're exposed to any new thing, it's tough because you don't know how to deal with it. But once you, so initially, yes, it's tough, and you get nervous, but you get butterflies in your stomach. But you just have to know that it's okay to feel pressure sometimes. It's okay. It's natural. It's normal. So once you expose yourself to different and difficult situations enough, uh, then you just manage it. It's just another pressure, and you just have to manage it, and you just manage it by somehow blocking it and just focusing on and the task on hand. It's just about, yeah.
So, Saad, it takes me to the last two questions of our show tonight. It's such a wonderful pleasure to be talking to you and learning so much about you and all the work that goes on in your head and the thoughts which makes you who you are. Question I have is, what can you bring back from some of these franchise cricket back to the Canadian players? What would you love to share with them that they can do to get there, to get to those heights that you've achieved? What would you share with them?
So Salman bhai, it's again, it's one thing is hard work. You just have to, whatever particular passion you have, work. Like if you work hard on one thing, like you will eventually get better. That's how we humans work, right? So hard work is there. Like one thing I've noticed in playing against all these big players is they know their game better. Like they know, like if they're a bowler, if they're delivering something, how they're delivering it. Sometimes we just go through motions, and if something good happens, it just happens naturally. We don't know too much about our wrist positions and how we delivered it. And sometimes when things don't go well, we don't know what happened. But if you understand and know your game better, then if even when something do not go according to the plans, what went wrong. You can analyze it, and then you can work hard to to overcome it. So I think it's, if you have like coaches to work with who can keep an eye on you, and who discuss plans with you, that's something that we can improve on. So just putting in the hard work, knowing your game, and then just exposing yourself to, again, these uncomfortable situations where you're playing competitive cricket. Even sometimes when your level is here but you play here, it's uncomfortable for you. But if you keep on playing, keep on exposing yourself to this level, eventually you will come from here to here. Like you will eventually go up. But if you just stay comfortable with with what you are playing, and you don't want to get expose yourself to uncomfortable positions, then you will never grow. So it's just about exposing yourself to uncomfortable positions. Even when you are practicing, just practice with purpose. Just visualize yourself playing a game, setting your field, and just talk to the batsman who you're bowling to, or the bowler you're batting against. Have like a healthy competition, and just feel that pressure, the pressure you're gonna feel in the game. Because a lot of the times, again, we have like a small summer season, we have a big indoor off season. We don't get match practice enough. But it's just like, what's the best we can get out of the situation is, like, when you're practicing even indoors, just visualize and think as if you're bowling in the middle or you're playing a match. That's the best you can do. Ideally, yes, we would want to play more cricket. We want to travel off season. We go in different countries, and play games there, because there's no better exposure than playing the actual game, and better learning than playing the actual game. But if we cannot get that, then just whenever you're practicing with purpose is the best way to go.
So what you're saying, the message you're sending is, if anytime you get out there to practice, treat it like a game.
Yes.
Just thinking, right? Yeah. So you touched on a few points about coaching. I'm going to take you to your CPL experience at Global T20. You played and worked under some of the big names as coaches. How much does that affect your growth as a player, working with those kind of coaches out there? I believe, who was your coach at Vancouver Knights and
Donovan
Predators?
Miller was my coach for
Yeah,
Vancouver Knights, and Andy Flower was for St. Lucia Zooks in CPL.
big names, right? Andy
Yeah,
Flower has coached, at one point he's coached the English team as well.
yeah,
At the
yeah.
side. How did you find that? What do they bring to you as a coach that allows you to learn from that?
So, Salman bhai, even when I went into CPL, like I was very observant, and I was actually trying to learn, and even not even when I'm not discussing with them, like I was just trying to observe them and see like how they, react in different situation during a game, whether if it's a pressure on us, how, like what are they talking about, and what are they discussing. And even the games I did not play, I was making sure that I am the one who's taking the water, because with water, like sometimes coaches they send messages. So I wanted
Ah,
to know what those messages are. What are the messages that are being passed on? Because I wanted to learn. I want to pick their brain. So that was like my intention. So what I learned was that they stay positive, and that's what one thing that I was talking about, and that's something that I've learned playing with these coaches, that even in difficult situations they're always believing in the abilities of the team, and they're always staying positive, and they're sending positive messages. uh, they're not creating negative vibes, because even during the tournament, if one person do not have a good game and you talk about negative points of him, and you're bringing him down, you're not serving him any good, because he still has games to play. So it's, they just get the best out of all the situations, and even the negative points that you have or something that you want to improve, they would tell you or convey to you in a way where like you don't take it negatively.
yeah,
So that's one thing that I have learned from them, that it's just like having self belief, and just it's okay, again, it's okay to fail. Like even if you lose, it's okay to lose, as long as you learn from it. Like failure gives you an opportunity to learn, analyze and learn. And it's your best teacher. So it's okay if you're failing, like what if you have failed in front of like so many people watching you, it's still okay. It's just part of the journey. Like people's opinion, they're fickle, they change. So one day you do good, everybody is talking highly about you. The next day you don't do good, and everybody's talking against you, right? So it's just part of the journey, not just in cricket, in life in general as well. So it's just something that you need to be self-aware of, and just just see the best thing out of every situation, and keep learning. We all learn, we all make mistakes. It's just like sometimes we just have big egos, and we're trying to protect our egos, that, oh, we don't want to, what if people laugh at me, what if I fail in front of so many people. It's okay, like it, as long as you learn it, you're growing, and that's what should matter. And you should enjoy the process. Like just succeeding or just reaching your destination is not the goal. You should also enjoy the journey, enjoy the highs and enjoy the lows, right? So that's what life is all about.
or like you talked about, when you were sitting there bowling your first delivery in the global T20 or CPL, it's all the work you've done for many years.
Yeah.
That's what got you there. So I think not forgetting the journey you've taken, not forgetting what you've seen and how many times people may have tried bring you down, but you've taken, I think, something very positive from. I think, Saad, I wasn't aware that when I was sitting down with you, I was talking to somebody who could be the role model for Canadian cricketers, and that's how I'm taking you right now. I think we can all learn so much from you and the journey you've put yourself down on. I think we can all learn a lot from that. So I wish you all the best for the future endeavors. Where do we see Saad next year from here?
Salman bhai, I'm just trying to again improve and learn every day, and I'm just trying to focus on and then get into these franchise leagues, right? So that's like the aim for now, apart from Canadian tours. And at the same time, we also, like for me, I have a goal where like I want Canada to again get the ODI status and get into World Cups and T20 World Cups. So the journey is and the goal is still there, something that we need to achieve in the current lot need to achieve.
Yeah.
And so that's a work in progress, and so we have to put in efforts now to so whenever we have qualifiers again, we give ourselves the best chance of making Canada qualify for these World Cups. So I am just trying to focus on that, and every day, and even representing Canada, it's again, it's easier to achieve something, it's harder to maintain it. And it's an honor to represent Canada, and it's something that I take as a responsibility. Like, it's not something that I've played Canada and that's it. Now the hard work stops. Like, it still continues. So I take it as a responsibility that I have to put in, and I have to keep working hard to keep representing Canada. If I'm not putting in the same amount of effort or more, then I might as well just step down and let somebody else who have more drive and who's putting in more time and effort to take my spot, right? So the hard work continues, and I have set some goals which I will try to achieve as a cricketer, like getting in these leagues and helping somehow to get into World Cup eventually, and getting the ODI status back. So these are the short-term goals for now.
That's awesome, Saad. I think it's great to hear that you're talking about with so much modesty, the humbleness in your skills, but the effort has to be very aggressive, right? The effort has to be out there. You can stay modest in your approach or humble in your approach, but keep the effort there, and that's what brings you the result. Thank you so much, Saad, for joining me tonight. It has been such a pleasure sitting down with you, talking to you. And again, I'm going to repeat myself here. I'm very privileged to be chatting with somebody who I now consider the role model for a lot of our Canadian cricketers out there. And I hope so many of you can learn so much from Saad. And I think your humbleness speaks volumes for the way you present yourself and the achievements you have to show for. I think in some ways you're becoming the Ali Khan of Canadian cricket face. And I hope you follow in his footsteps, and hope the IPL doors open up for you, PSL doors open up for you, BPL, and all those leagues come running for you. And I see that happening with the work you're putting. Thank you, Saad.
Thank you
for joining us. Any final words for our viewers before we
Yes, thank you very much, Salman Bhai, for having me on your show and giving me an opportunity to connect with your viewers. We don't have a lot of local media who talk about Canadian cricket and Canadian cricketers and their journeys. So you're doing it. So I just want to thank you for giving us this platform. And I just want to send my best wishes to you and your program. Thank you very much again for having me on your show.
Thanks, Saad. Absolutely. I will part ways with Saad. Thank you, Saad, again. And for the rest of the viewers, it's been such a pleasure joining you tonight. And keep watching BaatShaat, and we'll be back with another big name shortly for you. Good night.